Have you ever been in a moment where someone's words or actions left you feeling small, humiliated, or undervalued? Maybe it was a sarcastic comment from a coworker in front of the entire team. Perhaps it was a friend interrupting you during an important conversation, leaving you struggling to finish your point. Or worse, a loved one making a cutting remark at a family gathering, exposing your vulnerabilities for everyone to see. Moments like these stick with us. They leave an uncomfortable residue, a mix of anger, embarrassment, and a lingering question. Why didn't I handle that better? You're not alone in feeling this way. Every one of us has faced situations where we felt disrespected, misunderstood, or even ignored. And often, the immediate response our minds crave is retaliation. Should I snap back? Should I prove them wrong? Should I stay silent and pretend it didn't happen? But deep down, we know that none of these reactions feel truly empowering. Now imagine this. What if, in that exact moment of disrespect, you could maintain absolute composure? What if, instead of reacting impulsively, you turn the situation around, not with aggression, but with calm strength? What if you not only protected your dignity, but also commanded respect from the very person who disrespected you? It sounds almost too good to be true, doesn't it? Here's the secret. The key to commanding respect isn't found in clever comebacks or showing dominance. It lies in something much deeper, your inner world. Buddhist philosophy teaches us that true respect doesn't come from what others think of us, but from how we perceive ourselves. Respect begins when we understand our own worth and align our actions with that understanding. It's not about controlling others or forcing them to treat us better. It's about mastering our own responses, building an unshakable foundation of mindfulness, compassion, and strength. Think about the Buddha's own life. He faced countless moments of disrespect and ridicule. People insulted him, doubted his teachings, and tried to undermine him at every turn. Yet, not once did he retaliate in anger. Instead, he met every challenge with unwavering calm and wisdom. His actions weren't just a display of self-control. They were a testament to the immense power of inner peace. In this video, we're going to uncover how you can apply these transformative teachings in your own life. We'll explore practical strategies rooted in Buddhist wisdom to help you navigate moments of disrespect with grace, strength, and confidence. You'll learn how to shift your perspective, master your emotions, and turn even the most uncomfortable situations into opportunities for growth and connection. But this isn't just about theory, it's about action. Each principle we'll discuss is designed to be simple, actionable, and immediately applicable. Whether you're dealing with a challenging colleague, a difficult family member, or even your own inner critic, these teachings will empower you to rise above negativity and command the respect you deserve, not by force, but by embodying the values you hold dear. So, let me ask you again, have you ever felt disrespected, undervalued, or dismissed? If the answer is yes, then this video is for you. Stick with me as we dive into the profound yet practical lessons of Buddhist philosophy. Together, we'll discover how to transform disrespect into an opportunity, not just to earn respect from others, but to strengthen the respect you have for yourself. Let's begin. 1. First impressions, cultivating presence and compassion. As we delve into the essence of earning respect, it's important to remember that the journey doesn't start with grand gestures or carefully crafted words. It begins within you, your inner state of being. Imagine walking into a room, not with the intent to impress or dominate, but with a calm, grounded energy that immediately puts others at ease. That energy, born of mindfulness and compassion, speaks louder than any words ever could. It's this profound sense of presence, rooted in Buddhist philosophy, that forms the cornerstone of first impressions. When you meet someone who carries an aura of genuine warmth, you can feel it, almost like an invisible embrace. It's not just their actions or their smile. It's the unspoken sense of care they radiate. Buddhist teachings describe this as metta, or loving kindness, a state of mind cultivated through practice. Metta isn't just about being kind. It's an intentional choice to wish for the well-being of others, even before they speak. This energy has a transformative effect, not only on those around you, but also on how you perceive yourself. The Buddha often spoke about the power of metta in human connections. He taught that when you approach others with an open heart, free from judgment or expectation, you create an atmosphere of mutual respect. This respect isn't forced or transactional. It flows naturally, like water finding its path. When your heart is steady and filled with good intentions, your actions align with that inner state, creating an authenticity that people can't help but respond to. Before you step into any interaction, take a moment to pause. Breathe deeply, allowing yourself to connect with the present moment. This simple act of mindful breathing has a profound effect. It clears away the mental clutter, worries about how you'll be perceived, lingering frustrations, or distracting thoughts. It's like resetting your internal compass, aligning your mind with your values. This alignment enables you to enter any room with clarity and purpose. As you approach others, remember that your body language often speaks before you do. Maintain eye contact, but not in a way that seeks to overpower or intimidate. Instead, let your gaze be soft and inviting, as if to say, "I see you, and I value your presence." A gentle smile complements this, one that isn't just for show but comes from a genuine place of goodwill. These seemingly small gestures carry immense weight. They convey a sense of groundedness and respect that words often fail to capture. Simple actions can be deeply impactful. For instance, standing when greeting someone shows that you acknowledge their importance. It's not about formality. It's about demonstrating that you're fully present and engaged. Similarly, a slight bow, common in many cultures influenced by Buddhist teachings, can be a powerful symbol of humility and connection. These gestures, though subtle, create an environment where respect is felt rather than demanded. I'll never forget an experience that taught me the true power of presence. During a retreat, I had the honor of meeting a senior monk whose reputation preceded him. I expected someone grandiose, someone who might carry the weight of his status visibly. Instead, what I encountered was a man whose humility was both disarming and inspiring. He greeted each person, regardless of their background, with the same gentle bow, a warm smile, and direct eye contact. There was no sense of hierarchy, no need for elaborate introductions. His presence alone commanded respect, not through authority, but through his authenticity. That moment stayed with me because it revealed something profound. Respect isn't transactional. It's not something you demand from others. It's something you cultivate within yourself. The monk's quiet confidence wasn't rooted in arrogance or self-importance. It came from his unwavering commitment to living his values. He embodied metta in every interaction, and that energy was palpable. We live in a world that often prioritizes outward appearances over inner substance. There's pressure to make a strong first impression by being clever, articulate, or polished. But the truth is, none of those things matter as much as the energy you bring into the room. When you're centered, compassionate, and fully present, you create a space where others feel safe and valued. And in that space, respect flourishes naturally. Think about the people in your life who have left a lasting impression on you. Chances are, it wasn't their words or accomplishments that stood out. It was how they made you feel. Perhaps they listened to you intently, without distractions. Maybe their demeanor was calm and reassuring, even in challenging situations. Or perhaps it was the way they treated everyone with equal kindness, regardless of status or circumstance. These qualities, rooted in mindfulness and compassion, are the foundation of true respect. The beautiful thing about cultivating presence and compassion is that it doesn't require perfection. You don't need to have all the answers or project an air of invincibility. In fact, it's often your authenticity, your willingness to be fully yourself, that resonates most deeply with others. When you approach interactions with an open heart and a clear mind, people sense that you're not trying to manipulate or impress them. They see your sincerity, and that sincerity earns their respect. As you integrate these practices into your daily life, you'll begin to notice subtle but profound changes. Conversations will feel more meaningful, connections will deepen, and perhaps most importantly, you'll feel a greater sense of alignment within yourself. This alignment is the source of true confidence, the kind that doesn't need validation from others because it comes from knowing your own worth. Every interaction is an opportunity to embody the principles of mindfulness and loving kindness. Whether it's a casual meeting with a colleague, a meaningful moment with a loved one, or even a brief encounter with a stranger, your presence has the power to transform the dynamic. When you show up fully, grounded in your values and open to connection, you create a ripple effect. People feel seen, heard, and respected, and in turn, they reflect that respect back to you. First impressions aren't about perfection, they're about presence. And presence begins with the simple yet profound act of showing up as your most authentic, compassionate self. Let your energy speak for you, and you'll find that respect isn't something you have to chase, it's something you naturally attract. 2. Responding to interruptions with grace. Continuing the journey of cultivating presence and commanding respect, we arrive at a situation we've all experienced. Being interrupted, it can feel like an affront, especially when you're sharing something close to your heart or presenting a well-thought-out idea. In those moments, frustration is a natural reaction. After all, interruptions can feel like a dismissal of your value or the importance of your words. But what if you could transform these moments into opportunities? What if, instead of letting irritation or defensiveness take over, you responded with poise and confidence, asserting your presence without escalating the tension? In Buddhism, the concept of mindfulness offers us a way to navigate these interactions with grace. The Buddha taught that the way we respond to others reflects our own inner state far more than their behavior. When someone interrupts you, it's not necessarily about you. It's often a reflection of their own impatience, enthusiasm, or lack of awareness. Recognizing this helps you detach from taking it personally, opening the door to a more mindful and composed response. Imagine this scenario. You're in a meeting, presenting an idea you've worked hard on, and midway through, someone interjects, eager to add their own point. Your initial instinct might be to match their energy, interrupting them back or asserting your dominance with a sharper tone. But instead of reacting impulsively, consider this: pause, take a breath, center yourself. This brief moment of mindfulness creates space for clarity. It reminds you that you have the power to guide the interaction rather than being swept up in its chaos. Now, look at the person who interrupted you, not with anger or condescension, but with calm, steady eye contact. This simple act conveys a quiet confidence that speaks louder than words. It tells them, I see you, I hear you, but I'm still here, and my voice matters too. In many cases, this moment of nonverbal communication is enough to shift the dynamic. The interrupter may sense the imbalance they've created and naturally step back, giving you the space to continue. Once they finish speaking, reclaim the conversation gently but firmly. A simple phrase like, "Let me continue where I left off," is powerful. It's neither confrontational nor passive. It asserts your right to be heard while maintaining the harmony of the interaction. This approach doesn't just preserve your dignity, it also resets the tone, subtly reminding everyone present that respect is a two-way street. I remember a personal experience that underscored the impact of this approach. During a family gathering, I was sharing a story about a recent trip, weaving in details that were both personal and meaningful to me. Just as I reached the heart of the story, a relative interrupted with their own anecdote, completely derailing the flow of the conversation. For a moment, I felt the sting of frustration. My instinct was to cut them off and reclaim the spotlight. But instead, I paused. I took a breath, steadied myself, and stayed silent. I met their eyes, not with resentment, but with a calm that said, "I'm listening, but I'm not invisible." The silence was palpable. It wasn't long before they realized their mistake, their words trailing off as they acknowledged my presence. The conversation naturally shifted back to me, and I continued without needing to fight for attention. That moment taught me something profound. Silence can be a more powerful response than words. It carries a weight that forces reflection, not just in the person who interrupted, but in everyone present. It's a way of asserting yourself without aggression, of commanding respect through your composure. Of course, not every interruption comes from a place of disregard. Sometimes people interrupt out of excitement or a desire to contribute. Recognizing their intent can further soften your response. When you meet an interruption with understanding rather than resistance, you create space for mutual respect to grow. This doesn't mean letting yourself be overshadowed. It means navigating the situation with a balance of firmness and empathy. The beauty of this practice is that it extends beyond moments of interruption. It's about cultivating an inner steadiness that allows you to respond to any disruption, whether it's an unkind remark, an unexpected challenge, or an interruption, with grace. Each pause, each breath, each moment of mindful response strengthens your ability to stay centered, no matter the external circumstances. This approach aligns seamlessly with the principles of mindfulness. By refusing to react impulsively, you take control of your own energy. You become a beacon of calm in the storm of conversation, a presence that others instinctively respect. Over time, people come to see you not just as someone who demands attention, but as someone who deserves it. Imagine how these moments could transform your relationships. In the workplace, a calm and composed response to interruptions signals leadership and self-assuredness. Among friends, it fosters deeper connections and mutual understanding. And within your family, it sets a tone of respect and harmony that ripples outward. The next time you're interrupted, see it not as an insult but as an opportunity, a chance to practice mindfulness, assert your presence, and strengthen your ability to navigate challenging interactions. These moments, though small, are powerful. They shape how others perceive you and, more importantly, how you perceive yourself. Through this practice, you'll find that interruptions lose their sting. They become less about someone taking your space and more about how you choose to hold it. And in holding it with grace and equanimity, you not only command respect but also inspire others to reflect on the power of their own presence. 3. Turning humiliation into inner strength. Humiliation, whether intentional or not, has a way of striking at the very core of our being. It feels like a spotlight has been cast on our vulnerabilities, exposing them to the judgment of others. In moments like these, the natural reaction is often to retreat in shame or lash out in defense. But Buddhist teachings invite us to take a step back and examine the true source of our discomfort. Is it really the words or actions of others that cause us pain? Or is it our own attachment to how we believe we are perceived? This shift in perspective is transformative. By letting go of our attachment to external validation, we disarm the insult and take back our power. The ego, fragile and ever-seeking, craves approval. It thrives on being admired, respected, and acknowledged. When someone mocks us, it's as though a crack appears in the foundation of our self-worth. But Buddhism teaches that true strength comes from understanding that our worth is not determined by others. It is innate, unchanging, and untouchable. When we internalize this truth, the sting of humiliation begins to lose its edge. Imagine someone mocking you in front of others. The initial wave of emotions, shame, anger, perhaps even sadness, can feel overwhelming. But in that moment, you have a choice. You can react, giving power to the insult, or you can pause and choose a different path. A calm, gentle smile can be one of the most powerful tools at your disposal. It signals that you are unshaken, that their words have not pierced the armor of your inner peace. It's not a smile of condescension or arrogance, but one of quiet confidence and compassion. Silence, too, is a powerful ally. It creates a space where the weight of the mockery begins to shift. When you don't react, the person attempting to humiliate you is often left floundering, unsure of how to proceed. Their words hang in the air, exposed for what they are, an attempt to provoke, to diminish. And in that exposure, the insult often loses its impact. If the mockery continues, a simple, calm request can turn the situation around. Asking the person to repeat their words might seem counterintuitive, but it can be incredibly effective. When they are forced to articulate their insult again, its absurdity often becomes apparent, not just to you, but to everyone present. The humor they hope to elicit falls flat, and the dynamic shifts. Suddenly, it is not you who appears diminished, but them. I recall a personal experience that illuminated this lesson. During a casual gathering, someone decided to share an embarrassing story about me, clearly intending to draw laughter at my expense. For a brief moment, I felt the sting of humiliation. My mind raced with possible retorts, ways to turn the spotlight back on them. But instead, I paused. I took a breath, smiled, and calmly asked, "Could you tell that story again? I'd love to hear how you remember it." The group fell silent as they repeated the tale, and as they spoke, it became clear that the humor they intended wasn't landing. The room's energy shifted from amusement to awkwardness. The moment passed, and I carried on as though nothing had happened. Later, I reflected on how empowering it felt to respond with calm rather than aggression. This approach is rooted in the Buddhist teachings on detachment. He taught that suffering arises not from external events, but from our clinging to those events. When someone mocks us, the pain we feel is often tied to our ego's desire to be seen in a certain light. By releasing that attachment, we free ourselves from the power of the insult. It's not about ignoring the hurt or pretending it doesn't exist. It's about recognizing that it doesn't define us. Another layer to this practice is compassion. While it may be difficult in the moment, considering the motivations behind someone's attempt to humiliate, you can shift your perspective. Often, those who mock or belittle others are grappling with their own insecurities. Their words say more about their inner struggles than they do about you. Viewing the situation through this lens doesn't excuse their behavior, but it helps you approach it with understanding rather than anger. When you respond to humiliation with grace, you not only protect your inner peace, but you also set an example for others. People notice the way you carry yourself in challenging moments. Your calmness and resilience become a source of inspiration, a reminder that dignity is not something others can take from you. It is something you hold within yourself. In practicing these teachings, you may also find that the experience of being mocked becomes less personal. It becomes a moment of reflection, an opportunity to strengthen your connection to your inner self. You begin to see that the opinions of others, while sometimes painful, are fleeting and often irrelevant to your true nature. What matters is not how others perceive you, but how you perceive yourself. The next time you find yourself in a situation where someone attempts to humiliate you, try this: pause, take a breath, smile gently. If appropriate, ask them to repeat their words. Then let it go. Remember that their words do not define your worth. In doing so, you reclaim the narrative, transforming what could have been a moment of pain into a moment of strength. This is the power of Buddhist wisdom. It allows us to turn even the most challenging experiences into opportunities for growth and self-discovery. As you carry this practice into your life, you'll begin to notice a shift. The sting of insults will fade more quickly. Your sense of self will become more grounded, and those who once sought to diminish you will see that their efforts are futile. This is the strength that comes from within, the strength that no one can take away. It is yours to cultivate, yours to protect, and yours to embody. 4. Neutralizing provocation with mindfulness. Provocation has a way of finding us in the moments we least expect, often from the people we interact with most. Whether it's a sly comment, a deliberate challenge, or a subtle dig, its aim is almost always the same: to unsettle, to draw out an emotional reaction, to shift the power dynamic in favor of the provocateur. In those moments, it's easy to feel the familiar surge of frustration or anger, the urge to defend yourself, or even retaliate. But Buddhist teachings offer a radically different approach. They remind us that the true measure of strength lies not in overpowering the other person, but in maintaining control of our own inner state. When someone provokes you, the natural instinct is to believe that the problem lies with them. After all, they're the one initiating negativity. But the Buddhist teachings encourage us to turn inward. He emphasized that our experiences are shaped not by external events, but by our responses to them. The words of a provocateur hold no inherent power. They only gain strength when we react. This understanding is liberating because it shifts the focus from controlling the behavior of others, which is often impossible, to mastering our own reactions, which is always within our reach. Imagine being at a social gathering where a friend or relative makes a pointed remark about something personal, your career, your relationships, or even your appearance. The comment lands like a small but sharp stone, and the eyes of the room turn to you, waiting to see how you'll respond. In that split second, Your mind might race through possible reactions: a witty comeback, a sharp retort, or an attempt to explain yourself. But what if, instead, you chose stillness? What if you met the moment not with reactivity, but with mindfulness? One of the most powerful tools in these situations is the redirection of attention. Asking an unrelated, neutral question is a subtle yet effective way to diffuse the tension. It shifts the focus away from the negativity and onto something benign, something that invites others into a more neutral or even pleasant conversation. For example, if someone comments on a perceived failure of yours, you might respond by saying, "Speaking of that, does anyone know a good bakery nearby? I've been meaning to try something new." This unexpected shift disrupts the provocateur's rhythm, leaving them momentarily unbalanced. In that pause, the energy in the room has a chance to reset. This technique isn't about avoiding the situation or pretending it didn't happen. Instead, it's about reclaiming control over the interaction. By refusing to engage with negativity, you demonstrate that you are not easily swayed or unsettled. You set the tone for the conversation, subtly but powerfully showing that you prioritize harmony and composure over conflict. Silently practicing loving kindness, or metta, during these moments can further transform the dynamic. When someone provokes you, it's easy to see them as an adversary, but Buddhist teachings remind us that their behavior often stems from their own pain or insecurity. Silently wishing them well, "May you be happy, may you be free from suffering," doesn't excuse their actions, but it helps you detach emotionally. It reminds you of their shared humanity and the possibility for growth and understanding. I recall a time when this practice made all the difference. During a family gathering, someone brought up a professional setback I had recently experienced. The comment was pointed, delivered with an edge that invited others to laugh or judge. For a moment, I felt the sting of embarrassment and the urge to defend myself. But instead, I paused. I took a deep breath and said, "Does anyone know a good bakery nearby? I've been thinking about picking up something special for next time." The question caught them off guard, and the laughter that followed was light, not at my expense. The conversation quickly shifted, and the tension dissolved. Later, I reflected on how much more empowered I felt by choosing peace over confrontation. This approach requires practice. It's not always easy to remain composed in the face of provocation, especially when the comment strikes a deeply personal chord. But each time you choose mindfulness over reactivity, you strengthen your ability to navigate these moments with grace. Over time, you may find that provocations lose their sting. They become less about you and more about the person delivering them, a reflection of their own struggles, insecurities, or unmet needs. This isn't to say that you should always remain silent or redirect. There are times when addressing the provocation directly is necessary, especially if it involves setting boundaries or protecting others. But even then, the key is to respond, not react. A response comes from a place of clarity and intention. A reaction is often impulsive and emotion-driven. By grounding yourself in mindfulness, you ensure that your actions align with your values, even in challenging situations. The beauty of this practice lies in its ripple effects. When you respond to provocation with calm and composure, you set an example for those around you. Others notice your steadiness and may feel inspired to adopt a similar approach in their own lives. Even the provocateur may reflect on their behavior, recognizing the futility of their actions. In this way, your choice to remain grounded doesn't just benefit you. It has the potential to transform the dynamics of your relationships and interactions. Provocation, at its core, is a test. It challenges your emotional resilience, your commitment to your values, and your ability to stay true to yourself under pressure. Each time you face this test with mindfulness, you grow stronger. You begin to see provocations not as threats, but as opportunities to practice patience, to embody compassion, and to affirm your inner strength. As you carry this practice into your daily life, you'll find that provocations become less frequent. People who once sought to unsettle you may come to respect your composure. Those who truly care for you will appreciate the harmony you bring to interactions. And most importantly, you'll deepen your connection to your own inner peace. This is the power of mindfulness, It allows you to navigate life's challenges with grace, transforming even the most difficult moments into opportunities for growth and connection. 5. Walking away, the ultimate act of self-respect. Walking away is often misunderstood. To many, it may appear as a sign of defeat, a retreat from challenges or responsibilities. But in truth, walking away is one of the most profound acts of self-respect and inner strength. It's a declaration to yourself and the world that you will no longer settle for situations, relationships, or environments that erode your peace or diminish your worth. Buddhism teaches us that clinging to what no longer serves us, be it people, places, or patterns, only prolongs suffering. Letting go, however difficult, is not just an act of liberation, it is a path to growth. We live in a culture that often romanticizes perseverance. We're told to stay strong, to push through, to endure at all costs. While resilience is important, it is equally vital to recognize when staying is no longer an act of strength, but one of self-neglect. Buddhism offers a gentle reminder that detachment is not apathy or avoidance. It is the wisdom to discern when something no longer aligns with your values or supports your well-being. Walking away is not about giving up. It's about giving yourself the permission to choose peace over struggle. Imagine being in a situation where you're constantly fighting to be heard, valued, or respected. Perhaps it's a toxic workplace where your contributions are overlooked, or a relationship where your needs are consistently ignored. The energy you expend trying to fix or endure such dynamics can leave you drained, frustrated, and questioning your own worth. The Buddha taught that suffering arises from attachment, our reluctance to let go of what feels familiar, even when it no longer serves us. But when you release that attachment, you create space for something new, something better suited to your growth and happiness. Recognizing the signs that it's time to walk away requires self-awareness. Are you feeling perpetually drained, anxious, or undervalued? Do you find yourself constantly justifying or excusing behavior that harms you? These feelings are not weaknesses. They are signals, your inner wisdom urging you to reevaluate your situation. Listening to these signals is an act of self-compassion. It is the first step toward reclaiming your power. When the moment comes to walk away, do so with grace. There's no need for dramatic exits or heated confrontations. A calm, composed departure speaks volumes about your character and your priorities. It says, "I value myself enough to leave without resentment or regret." By leaving with dignity, you preserve your integrity and set the tone for the next chapter of your life. A friend of mine, Sarah, taught me this lesson in a powerful way. She was an exceptionally talented professional, pouring her heart and soul into her work. Yet, her efforts were met with indifference. Her ideas were dismissed, her achievements overlooked, and her confidence slowly eroded. For months, she tried harder, believing that proving her worth would change how she was treated. But one day, during yet another meeting where her contributions were ignored, Sarah made a decision. She calmly closed her notebook, looked around the room, and said, "I think it's time for me to move on." There was no anger in her voice, no need to explain or justify. She walked out of that room, not out of defeat, but as an act of self-respect. In the weeks that followed, Sarah found a new position at a company that celebrated her talents and valued her ideas. Within months, she was thriving in a way she hadn't thought possible. Her story is a testament to the transformative power of letting go. It wasn't the act of leaving that defined her. It was the courage to recognize her own worth and prioritize her well-being. Walking away isn't always easy. It requires confronting fears, the fear of uncertainty, of being judged, of starting over. But these fears are often rooted in the ego, the part of us that clings to what is familiar, even when it causes us pain. Buddhism teaches us to observe these fears without becoming attached to them. They are clouds passing through the sky of our mind, temporary and insubstantial. When you let go of the need to control or cling, you discover the clarity and strength to move forward. It's important to remember that walking away doesn't mean erasing the past or denying its value. Every experience, even the painful ones, contributes to your growth. The lessons you've learned, the resilience you've built, And the clarity you've gained are all gifts that will serve you as you step into a new chapter. Walking away is not about rejecting the past. It's about honoring the wisdom it has given you and choosing to carry that wisdom into a brighter future. There's a quiet power in choosing where to invest your energy. When you walk away from what drains you, you reclaim that energy for what nourishes and inspires you. You open the door to environments and relationships that align with your values and support your growth. And in doing so, you send a clear message to yourself and the world. I am worthy of peace, respect, and joy. As you reflect on the situations in your life, consider this. Are you staying because it truly serves you, or because you fear letting go? Are you holding on out of love and purpose, or out of habit and obligation? These questions are not easy, but they are necessary. They guide you toward the truth of what you need and deserve. Walking away is not a weakness. It is a profound act of self-love. It is choosing to prioritize your well-being over the expectations of others. It is recognizing that your time and energy are finite and deserve to be spent in ways that uplift and empower you. It is a reminder that you are not bound by the past, but free to create a future that reflects your highest self. As you take this step, trust in the process. Trust that letting go creates space for something greater. Trust that every ending carries within it the seeds of a new beginning. And most importantly, trust in your own strength and worth. Walking away is not the end of your story. It is the beginning of a new chapter, one written on your terms, with the clarity and courage of someone who knows their own value. As we come to the close of this journey, let's take a moment to reflect on what we've explored together. Respect, at its core, is not something we can demand, barter, or force. It's a reflection of how we carry ourselves, how we navigate challenges, and how we choose to interact with the world around us. It's a quiet strength born from mindfulness, compassion, and an unshakable sense of self-worth. When you embody these qualities, respect flows naturally, not just from others, but most importantly, from within yourself. Life will always present moments that test your patience, your grace, and your ability to remain centered. In those moments, remember the power of a pause. Breathe deeply, reconnect with your values, and let your response be guided by intention rather than impulse. Whether it's a harsh comment, an unwelcome interruption, or a situation that no longer serves you, you have the ability to choose how you engage. That choice is your strength. It's what allows you to transform discomfort into growth, disrespect into resilience, and challenges into opportunities. As you step forward, carry these lessons with you, not as rigid rules, but as gentle reminders of your own capacity for wisdom and kindness. The way you approach the world has the potential to inspire others. Every moment of calm in the face of chaos, every act of kindness in response to negativity, and every decision to honor your worth sets a ripple into motion. You may not always see the immediate impact, but trust that your actions have the power to create change, both within and around you. I want to invite you to share your voice. What resonated with you today? Have you faced moments where you chose calm over conflict, or walked away from a situation that no longer aligned with your values? Perhaps you're still grappling with a challenge and seeking clarity. Whatever your experience, I'd love for you to share it in the comments below. This space is a place for connection, reflection, and support. Your story may be the encouragement someone else needs, and your insights could spark a new perspective for another. Thank you for spending your time here, for opening yourself to these ideas, and for joining me on this path of self-discovery. Your presence is valued, and your growth is celebrated. If this message has inspired you, consider sharing it with someone who might benefit from it. Together, we can create a ripple effect of positivity and understanding. Before you go, don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Hit the notification bell so you never miss a new video, and give this one a like if it spoke to you. These small actions help us grow this community of mindful, compassionate individuals striving to make a difference in their own lives and in the lives of others. As you carry on with your day, may you find peace in your actions, strength in your choices, and respect in the way you live your truth. Thank you for being here, and I look forward to hearing your stories and insights. Let's continue this journey together. one moment of mindfulness at a time. You are worthy, you are enough, and you are capable of incredible things. Take care, and I'll see you in the next video.